Hello everyone and welcome to Ginger Prime. My name is Brian and in this video guide we're going to be breaking down what you need to know before stepping into the new world beta, which kicks off on July 23rd. It's a closed beta, so if you want access, you're going to have to pre-order the game. And I go into more detail on my thoughts regarding should you pre-order, so check out that video if you want more of my thoughts regarding pre-orders in general. You can still pre-order the game up to its release on August 25th when the game is fully released to the public. It's important to note that the beta will come with a character wipe, so any progress you make prior to the release will be lost and everyone is going to be starting on the same page come August. So what is this game? Well, to start, it's an open world action MMORPG that's a little bit of blend of Dark Souls combat meets PvE meets PvP meets it's probably going to kick your butt if you do decide to travel on your own, which you can do. We'll talk more about that here in a little bit. So are there traditional classes when it comes to playing this game? And the answer to that is no. You can play this game any which way you want. There is no holy trinity, even though you probably will build out some form of tank healer DPS style system anyway. It's just a natural way to kind of play games in group content. However, the system uses what's called the weapon mastery system and various attributes and an endless trade skill progression system to flesh it out completely. Now we've covered all of that in more detail on previous videos on this channel, so if you check the link playlist, you can find that detail in those systems and more about that. But in summary, you can equip different weapons and you can switch between them actually really at ease. Switching between weapons is very easy and allows for you to have very complex builds depending on what the situation entails. So just go nuts, have fun, build to your heart's content and go from there. Now, as you level, you're going to get those attribute points, which you can put in your character. Attributes are currently soft capped at 60 points, but you can go beyond the soft caps with the help of trinkets, but there are diminishing returns beyond that. So we'll cover that in more detail as the game is out and we can dive into actual stats and builds here at Ginger Prime. So also you can respec your character early in the game for free, but later when you get into more advanced levels, you have to spend in-game currency to be able to make that happen. So can you solo in this game? We talked a little bit about that in the intro, and yes, you can, but it's going to be very challenging to do so. Enemies are dangerous, so if you want to be a solo player, you better be prepared with gear, food, healing potions to make your journey less frustrating. Do you need a PvP to enjoy this game? And you can PvP if you like PvP, but this game can be played as a fully PvE game. Is this a sandbox or a theme park style MMO? Well, it's kind of a blend of both. You can quest to level up, or you can grind out enemies in the open world, or you can do a mix of both. Really, the choice is up to you. A core element of the game is actually controlling zones for your faction, and you're going to have to quote-unquote undermine controlled zones by either doing PvE missions or PvP missions, or if you feel like it, a blend of both within the zone itself. Once a zone has actually been undermined enough, the rival faction can declare war on the controlling faction. And aside from the war mode for PvPers, there's actually a PvE focused invasion mode, which actually pits you against waves of enemy monsters to hold control of a zone from the AI itself. The stronger you and your faction are, the stronger the invasion force is going to be, coming at you. In the open world, there's also real-time events called corrupted breaches, which act as public quests. So if you played MMOs in the last few years, this is going to feel very commonplace and should be pretty straightforward. So let me go ahead and now tell you a little bit more about the factions. There are 3 player-controlled factions and 4 AI enemy factions. Regarding player factions, it's important to note that you cannot change your faction on your server. You're going to need to re-roll on another server if you want to play with another faction. So coordinate with your friends before starting this game. You can join a faction around level 20 in the game currently. So regarding the 3 factions, for the players, you have the Syndicate, who are searching for a forbidden knowledge to bring about a new era of progress. The Covenant are religious fanatics who want to clean the land from the heretics and make its true holy nature flourish and bring about justice. And then finally you have the Marauders, and they want to establish a free nation where power rules all. For the enemy factions, you have the Lost. These are zombie-like wretched creatures who are the remains of previous explorers in Eternum. Then you have Angry Earth. These are dryads, beasts, and other elements of nature that are a real threat to your progress. Then you also have the Ancients. This is what are left over of an old civilization that existed on Eternum a long time ago. And finally, you have the Corrupted, those who have been lost and possessed by the nature of Azoth itself. So is there going to be player housing in this game? And yes, you can actually own a part of the game in the open world itself. In fact, you and many other people can own the same spot of land. However, your house is going to be instanced to you. So whenever you're out in the world, you're going to see your copy of your house, where others are going to see their copy of their house. However, for people who don't own that specific plot of land, the house that is displayed is going to be determined based off of a design score that's set for the different period, so that you and whoever owns that same instance are going to compete for the design, get scored, and that's going to be who is presented to everybody else out in the world. You can own houses in factions and lands that you don't control, so ultimately you can find a nice piece that you can set up, you can control, and then you can have some fun. Maybe undermining the zone if it gets taken by the rival faction. I don't know. Choice is up to you. So how many players are actually going to be on the server at one time? And right now they're shooting for 1,000 players per server, and they plan to grow this in the future with goals stretching up to 10,000 players in real time on the server itself. But I'm sure there's going to have to be some hoops they're going to jump through as computers and technology overall improves. Now, does the new world support controllers? And yes, but not really fully at launch. So just kind of note that it does work. If we've seen anything from Crucible, note that it's not fully 100% integrated, but we'll have to wait and see, and hopefully they can continue to grow their controller support. And obviously that means this game currently is 100% only on PC. Maybe they'll bring it to other places in the future. We'll keep you up to date if that does happen. So how does actually loot work in this game? Is there a reason to craft at all? And the game actually is built around a player-focused economy, and it's got some of, if not the best gear that's actually craftable in-game. Being a high-level crafter allows you to make better versions of the gear in the game, and the more rare the gear, the more perks and value that it has to it. So there is a massive amount of value to actually being a crafter in this game, so pay attention to that. If you just want to craft in this game and work on the economy, guess what? You can totally do that, and by doing that, it's going to really help your faction out as well. So just note that there is a massive pull for the player economy, which makes me really happy as a gamer. You can also get gear from the content, like in different drops as well. Some of the rarest drops are obviously going to be from the hardest content that's designed in the game, and we kind of cover that back here on the channel. But just note, we'll keep you up to date on how that plays and balances itself out. Gear is going to offer a wide range of perks, so if you're looking for more examples of that, be sure to check out previous videos here on the channel. But ultimately, the rarer the gear, the more perks it has, the more damage that you're going to be doing, the more unique your build, etc., etc. So it's going to play a massive role in this game, and that kind of ties into switching weapons at ease. You can really kind of have a lot of diversity when it comes to how you build out your character. Is there going to be open world full loot PvP now that we talk about the loot in the game? And no, this was actually changed from early parts of the alpha based off of player feedback and just the data they saw, which has upset many people who really wanted that kind of system. However, ultimately we'll have to wait and see if that was the right choice or not. It's going to be up to you. Very always interested in your opinion on if that is something you're looking for or something you're not. So in this case, you actually have to flag for PvP out in the open world if you want a PvP. If you pick a PvP focused mission, you're going to be automatically flagged for PvP. If you take that flag off, you basically are abandoning the mission, and you can just stick to PvE content if that is desirable and what you want to do. Is this a buy-to-play game? Is this a free-to-play game? Is there a subscription? How do I play? How do I pay? What do I need to know? Well, it's a buy-to-play game, and it's got currently 3 editions, and there's no subscription fee. It's going to be supported after the fact with various microtransactions that they say are going to be 100% cosmetic, but as a player who's heard that before, just note that that can always change. You never ultimately know. However, for the 3 editions, you have the standard edition, which runs $39.99, and that is just the game. Then you have the deluxe edition, which runs $49.99, which gets you Woodskin armor skin, a Woodskin hatchet skin, a Mastiff house pet, rocker paper scissors emote, rocker paper, you know, and the New World digital art book. They have a steelbook edition, which basically includes all the above, plus limited edition New Work steelbook, a collector's map of Eternum, and you're actually going to be emailed the code for the game itself. So all you're doing is getting a little bit of that physical touch as well. For the steelbook, they say there is a very limited set of those that are going to be going out. So just kind of check your realtor, check Amazon. That's really who's making this game if you want more information on that. Guys, I think this is a good primer for you, and hopefully this has been helpful. There's a lot of information to unpack. We're going to be diving more into it. Now note that once the beta is here, the NDA is up, and that's when you're going to start hearing and seeing videos from players in the alpha who are going to be able to share their thoughts about their experience, which basically sums up as some people like it, some people don't. What a real shocker. So just kind of keep in mind, you don't need to jump in right now. You can, and probably the best and safest bet for your money is to wait and see what people think about the game when they're streaming the game and more. And speaking of streaming the games, they are planning Twitch integrations for this game itself, which should prove interesting and entertaining in the long run. So just kind of keep an eye on how they decide to do that and how this game evolves. Anyway, an MMO launches really isn't indicative of the game itself. It's about how the support for the game continues on. I think the war and the faction and fighting over land is a really unique, interesting perspective that's going to hopefully help bring a lot of life and player-driven stories and player-driven drama to the game itself. So we'll ultimately have to wait and see what happens in the long run. Guys, if you have any New World questions, hit them in the comments below. If you guys feel like I've earned your sub, hit that subscribe button, come back for more videos. I just want to thank you so much for watching. My name is Brian, this is Ginger Prime. I hope you have a fantastic day, and I'll see you in the tournament on July 23rd. Until then, take care.